Hi, welcome to Enter the Bunker, where we launch you into thriving. Each week we talk about a different virtue that can be used as a building brick to build your own personal bunkers. We share personal stories, as well as tips and tricks to help you thrive instead of survive. So sit down, relax, and enter the bunker.
And welcome to part 2 of Sincerity. That's what this week's building brick. My name's Kelly.
And I'm Jonathan.
Let's get to it. How
Okay.
to be more sincere. Being a more sincere person can mean how you deal with others, but ultimately, sincerity must begin with yourself. Here are some tips on how to be more sincere. 1. Show sincerity to others. 2. I'm just laughing at that one. Like, obvious. Yeah, okay.
Like, of course, Captain Obvious.
Yeah, exactly. 2, develop a more sincere personality. And 3, offer sincere apologies when necessary. Let's see what number 1's going to tell us.
Okay.
Show sincerity to others. In order to be sincere, you need to be present when interacting with them. In other words, be an active participant in your interactions. Active listening can be an easy skill to overlook. Too often, distraction can get in the way of truly being involved in a conversation. Face the person you are talking to, ask open-ended questions to inflict more information from them. Practicing the active listening skills will show the other person you are interested in what they have to say and you genuinely want to know their thoughts and feelings. It's also important to try to understand another's point of view. You don't have to hold the same view as them, but if you can't consider why someone has that view, you will never be able to have a sincere conversation. Seeing their world through someone else's eyes allows you to potentially be more compassionate and may open your eyes to something you hadn't considered before. Yeah.
Was it what you expected as far as a Captain Obvious kind of thing?
Yeah.
It is?
I think so.
So,
I just feel like I don't know.
so I've said before in the show, God gave you 2 ears and
Yep.
1 mouth.
Yeah.
So that you listen twice as much as you speak.
Right.
And so with sincerity, that's, I think, what this is talking about is that to show sincerity to others is taking a genuine interest in what they have to say.
Yeah.
And so by doing that, the best way to do is to, like you said,
Listen.
ask open-ended questions, show interest in what they're talking about,
Yeah.
and really listen.
Yeah.
Right. So a lot of people just don't do that, especially in social media. Like social media today is just, it goes straight to just combative type of language,
Right.
you know? And so we need to have more sincerity in that sort of discourse. So asking questions like, and like you could see people make comments about things sometimes, and you immediately jump to these conclusions like, oh, they're this, they're that. There must be this kind of person. Oh, you must be that. And then people make comments right back, making these accusations.
Yeah.
Right? It's crazy.
Yeah.
And so if you showed some sincerity, you'd be like, why do you think that?
Yeah.
Like, just
That's where my brain goes. Like, I feel like this step right here, I actually practice quite well because I feel like I am a good listener. So when it's explained, that's why it was obvious to me, I
Okay.
guess. But I know what you mean. Like, if people just took a step back and be like, why are they feeling like that?
Yeah.
Like, what's making them? They must be really hurting right now.
Yeah.
That's like, I don't know.
It's like, well, if I think about some of the comments I've seen, it's like I've seen some people make a comment and then people reply back saying, "Oh, you must be some kind of racist," right? It's just like, whoa, like it's
Where did that
weird
come
how-
from?
Yeah, it's weird how they'll paint the other person in this like terrible light
Mhm.
just because of a particular position they take. But generally speaking, people are pretty good, you know. And the truth is that person thinks they're good.
Right.
Whether they really are or not, that's all relative. But that person thinks that they are doing good, that
Mhm.
they're doing something that's positive for the world.
Yeah.
They think that is going to be better for the world. Why? Why do they think that way when you think that is something that is completely wrong and completely racist and all this other kind of
Yeah.
stuff? There must be something that led them to that position. Most of the time, it has to do with our cognitive bias.
Right.
Okay, like where social media does this to us, like where we have a preference for certain types of things, so it shows us those types of things over and over and over and over.
Mhm.
And then you get into like the news channels of the social medias, and suddenly they all get mushed together.
Yeah.
And so then that's where people battle out because their cognitive bias world has been interrupted by this terrible person who's made this comment that doesn't match the rest of their feed. And oh no, what am I going to do? I'm going to get like,
Yeah, that's it.
I gotta
It's like
destroy this person.
fear.
He's bad, and that's where it goes, right?
Yeah.
So you got these crazy protocols running all over the place, like throwing our minds for a loop
Yeah.
and thinking that there's these terrible people out there we have to battle. It's this like us versus them,
Yeah.
you know?
Yeah.
Sincerity, if you just stopped and you said like, why do you think that? Where did you get that?
Yeah.
How did you come
Explain
to
that
that?
to
How
me.
did you come to that conclusion?
Enlighten me.
Because sometimes you can already predict what it is that they're thinking.
Yes.
And sometimes you can already predict where it is they're coming from.
Yeah.
But if you were to take that time to actually be sincere
Yeah.
and listen to what they have to say, that's all you have to do.
Yeah.
Like, don't even argue with them.
Yeah. Just listen.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just say like, why is it that you think that? And then they say, and you go, okay, thanks.
Yeah.
Don't even agree.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Imagine if we had a world in social media.
That's a
that
hard
was
thing
like
to do
that.
is not agree with somebody sometimes though.
It's so
Like just to kind of be like, especially if you're not interested in the conversation, you just be like, yeah.
Yeah. And then because there's a part of you that feels like you're conceding to it.
Yeah.
Yeah. By letting them say that
Mhm.
and then not responding to it, it's like, well, you've just let them take a dump and you're just
Yeah.
leaving it there. You're not cleaning it up. You got to clean it up. You got to clean it up. Right? You got to be the solution, right?
Yeah.
And it's good, relationship advice too.
Yeah.
Don't try to fix the problem.
Yeah.
Just be there for it.
Yes.
Just
Yeah.
don't try, as much as you think that that's what's helpful,
It's not.
it's not.
No.
So
Just be there.
Just be there.
Yeah.
Listen, have open-ended questions like why do you think,
Yeah.
and that's all the person really needs, right?
Yeah.
And so then maybe, just maybe, at some point in the future, when the time comes where you end up, crossing paths again,
Mhm.
when you have something to say, they may not be so combative with you. They
Right.
may decide, well, they really listen to me, so maybe I should listen to what they have to say,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
So there is a little bit of a personal advantage
Yeah. I actually never
to
thought
being
of that way.
sincere,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
So, because I've seen it before where some people in the social media world, instead of being combative like that, they take a very sincere approach. Like they're very respectful,
Yeah.
and they will respond in such a way where the person just comes off going rah, 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 from the beginning, but
Yeah.
then they just keep on being sincere. Like, why is this? And
Mhm.
how come you think that? And like, no, I don't agree with that. And then because they just keep going, they wear the person down. They kill them with kindness.
Kill them with
you
kindness.
know?
Yeah.
so then that ends up becoming like this. They set the standard.
Yeah.
Takes more effort, and a lot of people just don't want to be bothered to do that anymore.
Right.
Yeah, they
Yeah.
just want to launch their attack, and then hopefully it's going to be enough to like stomp out the other person, and that's all they're thinking.
Yeah.
You know?
That's all. They don't
And,
care.
and they just want their opinion to be the one that wins.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
sad. It's
Yeah.
sad. All right. Number 2 was develop a more sincere personality. Assess your strengths and weaknesses. Part of being more self aware and thus more sincere involves getting to know your best qualities and your weaknesses. This will allow you to recognize your true self and allow you to work to improve your weaknesses. Regularly take stock of your values. Make sure your words and actions are aligned with your values. Embrace who you are and value the experiences you've had. They define the person you are. Pretending to be something you're not or pretending to have lived through experiences will expose you as a fraud. Instead of hiding your true persona, embrace it. Others will recognize you are being your true self and respect you more for it. Basically, be honest with yourself and others.
Yes.
Yeah.
100%.
Yeah.
This kind of reminds me a little bit about my past dealing with being the founder of a publicly traded company.
Okay.
So in that time, I remember I wore a suit every day.
Mm-hmm.
Every day I wore a suit, and I was always dressed well,
Yeah.
and I had this persona,
Yeah.
right? And I can remember going to the meetings, carrying myself on in a certain way, and it was like I was acting in a way that I thought was what was expected of me,
Right.
rather than acting in a way that
Yourself.
I wanted to be myself.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So this this whole idea of developing a more sincere personality, I think that there's some environments that don't support that.
Mm-hmm.
Like if I mean, what I said was myself. I wasn't putting up a persona in that case, but the way I had to carry myself
Yeah.
wasn't myself.
Right.
And I can remember after all of that was done, I came to a point where I realized that wearing the suit was part of uh, almost like shielding me from actually showing my personality.
Right.
And that's when I dropped it.
Yeah.
And then after that, I stopped showing up. Like I started just wearing like shirts like this,
Yeah.
and I started showing up in hoodies and stuff. And I think it threw a lot of people for a loop because they'd seen me in suits all the time.
Right. Yeah.
And so then they were just like, "What's going on here?" But that was just me being more sincere. Like I was just like, I don't need this persona, and now that I'm done with this public company,
Mm-hmm.
I don't need to play this game of like, because the suit for me was like it's like a coat of armor.
I was waiting for you to
Like
say it because if you didn't, I was gonna.
it's like a coat of armor. You put it on, and suddenly you've got this like you're now protecting yourself because now you're this business person, and now there's a certain way that people got to treat you, and
Yeah.
there's a certain way that you got to treat others, and it's not really being yourself. You're trying
Unless that is you.
yeah, well, yeah, unless
Some
that is
people,
you.
yeah, some people
Yeah,
that
for
is
some
them.
people that they have completely embraced that.
Yeah, they
right?
love it.
Yeah. So, but for a lot of people, I don't think that's the case. So yeah, I think that it's really important to understand like what your best qualities are and your weaknesses. To me, that was just one example that's so vivid in my mind of like where I I was not able to like personify a sincere personality because I was wearing suits all the time.
Yeah, it's holding it
Yeah,
in.
it was like holding me back.
Yeah,
So
it's interesting. Number 3, offer sincere apologies when necessary. We may not like it, but we are not perfect and will be wrong sometimes, and that may wrong others. When this happens, make sure you own up to it. Mistakes happen, and it is important to acknowledge that you did something wrong. Accept responsibility for it and do not try to blame anyone else. Even if you do not understand how someone was hurt, you do not get to decide what offends someone else. Accept your role in it and apologize for it. This necessitates using the words I'm sorry with no caveats. I'm sorry, but negates the word I'm sorry. I'm sorry you took it the wrong way isn't a real apology either. Be genuine and apologetic for your mistakes. If you're unable to do so, take some time to reflect on how your actions may have hurt someone. An apology without sincerity is no apology at all. I have a story, another recent story for this one actually, that I think I practice sincerity pretty well.
okay.
So I had my grandfather's funeral on Tuesday. You know about this.
Mhm.
And I forgot, there was 2 things I forgot to do that day that I just kind of dropped everything and went and did that. And I know people are very heartwarming and understanding when it comes to stuff like that. But I missed just rescheduling a meeting. So I didn't show up for a meeting for somebody, which I felt so I apologized and I just explained the situation. I had no excuses other than this is the facts. But the other thing was I had a parent teacher group meeting that night and I didn't show up for it. And I'm the president of it.
Ooh.
And I had an email from the principal who messaged me later that night and just said, "Hey, Kelly, me and the other teacher, because then the rest of the parents come. There's usually principal, 1 or 2 teachers, and her and another teacher." I'm like shaking because I was really upset. Waited for about 15, 20 minutes and nobody showed up because I messaged the group previously and I gave them the link, but I didn't follow up with it that day. Normally I'll send them the link again. Anyways, so I just sat there reading the email over and over again, like so disappointed in myself, being like, how could I do this? Like, there's no reason for this, blah, blah, blah. Anyways, so I sat there and I typed up an email and I just apologized. And then I didn't say but or anything. I explained what went on that day. And I said, I just apologize. Like, there's no excuse for this. The only thing I can say is I promise to do better next time. Like, and I've learned from this. And yeah, anyways, her email back was very understanding. Like, it was very much like she even commented on some of the things that I explained about, because I didn't just say, I'm sorry, like, that was the end of it. Like, I went into detail. I talked about it, like, anyways, she was very understanding of it. So that's, but I felt like even talking about it now, I'm like shaking because I can't believe I did that. Like,
Yeah.
what the frick, Kelly?
Yeah. Yeah.
So yeah, I guess so. When you're apologizing, go into detail. Like, you know how we talk about when you say good job, don't just say good job.
That's right. That's
Yeah,
right.
yeah.
Yeah.
So it's, I guess.
It's important because, well, going to the detail also indicates that you
Are
are not just
recognizing.
like, you're recognizing what it
Yeah.
is you're sorry for,
Yeah.
not necessarily just saying, yeah, I'm sorry, but then not really even like the other person doesn't really get a sense where like, do you understand what you did?
Yeah.
You know? And
Yeah.
so if you can say like, I know this is disappointing and all these other
Mhm.
types of things, then it helps to solidify that, like, you know what? My bad. I acknowledge it.
Mhm.
I get it. I won't let it happen again.
Yeah.
Let's, let's move on. And not oftentimes that's all a lot of people are just wanting to hear.
Yeah.
Like if they can like they could see something's wrong, it's like, and they want to know that that something is wrong.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
if they can just get that communicated, then they're like, okay, good. Like you see that. So
Yeah.
let's make sure that doesn't happen again.
Now the
Right?
thing is making sure that doesn't happen again.
Yes.
Because
yes.
if not, that apology was bullcrap.
It was not sincere.
It was right.
We're talking about sincere. It was not sincere.
Yeah. Yeah.
So then that becomes an issue where it's like, okay, so what you told me before, you weren't being sincere when you
Mhm.
said that you were going to be this, and you're going to do
Mhm.
that, and you're going to make sure that this and that. How many times, like I've had situations with workers who said that, oh, I'll make sure I'll never do that again, or oh, I'll be sure to be on time from now on, and
Yeah.
they don't do it.
Yeah.
Right. And
Yeah.
then you're just like, you were lying to me.
Yeah.
You're like, you were not being sincere with me.
Yeah.
And it just gets you so frustrated and so angry that you lose all trust in the person. Right.
You do. You
So
lose the trust.
in
Yeah.
this case, so and the I'm sorry but thing. Yeah.
Yeah.
That is real.
Yeah.
Because I see that all the time where people will say to me, I'm sorry, but, and then they go on about whatever it is. It's like, you've just literally negated whatever it is
Yep.
you claim to be sorry for.
Yeah. You're not
So,
actually sorry.
Yeah, you're not sorry.
Yeah.
You're justifying
You're
yourself.
justifying. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. So
Giving
that's
yourself excuses.
that's not sincere either. And then I'm sorry, but you took it the wrong way.
Yeah.
That's I admit
Manipulation.
yeah, I have said that on I can recall saying that on a few occasions
Mhm.
where the way somebody reacted to me, I thought they hadn't. I really did think they didn't understand what it was I was saying
Yeah.
because their reaction to it was just so foreign to
Mhm.
what I was intending.
Right.
Right. And so then I just said, I'm sorry you took that the wrong way.
I don't. Yeah. And I feel like that is like that's an okay thing to say sometimes because really,
Well, as long
at
as
some point, it's a them problem at that sometimes.
you just don't leave it at that though.
Yeah.
Right? It's
No.
just like,
Yes.
and if you could word it in such a way that's a little more effective, like instead of saying, I'm sorry you took it the wrong way, it's like, you could reply with, instead of saying, I'm sorry, just say, I, I'm not sure how you got that from what I just said.
Yeah.
Can you clarify a little bit because that wasn't my intention.
Right.
Right. Or something
Sounds
like that.
so much better.
Right. Rather than like, I'm sorry you took it the wrong way. It's just like, it's your fault. It's like,
Yeah,
it's like you're
yeah.
just like,
Right.
so that doesn't help. Right. So I think there's a lot in being sincere in this regard when it comes to apologies. I remember a long time ago being apologetic
Mhm.
is more effective than the word sorry, right? Like there's something about the energy between the two types of words.
Mhm.
And I'm sorry, it's not coming to me at the moment, but I remember this very clearly in terms of like why you shouldn't say you're sorry, but you should say I apologize for
Yeah.
this and this,
Yeah.
right? So you may want to be choosy in what words you use as well.
Yeah. Well, even
Yeah.
what you said, like that was all choosing the words that you use, like the
Yeah.
way that it's not just, I'm sorry for this. Like you really went into detail. Like,
Because that denotes like being sincere and being genuine and
Yeah.
being real and being open.
yeah.
So the more effort you can put into communicating that,
And you're wanting to listen because you're wanting their opinion.
yeah,
Yeah.
then the more they feel that.
Yes,
Right.
yeah.
The more the more they can tell it's like, okay, like they are like connecting with me. They are doing more to actually listen to what it is I have to say.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think this is something that a lot of people have challenges with.
Yeah.
If you can be mindful of of opportunities to be able to apologize whenever they come up, and just do it. And don't be afraid. Like, a lot of people I think are afraid to do that because then they believe that puts them in a position of like, oh, I'm wrong.
Yeah,
Right?
they confirmed it fully.
Yeah.
Like they know in their head, like, yeah, I was wrong when I did that. But now you're admitting it to everybody. So you're admitting it to not just yourself. Well, you're admitting it to yourself and everybody else now.
Yeah. And for some people, they're
That's
afraid
hard.
of maybe possible consequences that
Yeah.
come from that.
And there could be some.
They feel like they may lose respect from others.
Mhm.
It's like, they think they should be able to do a certain thing, but they didn't do it. And
Yeah.
now they think that, well, if I admit that I wasn't able to do that thing, now nobody's going to respect me.
Or they're not going to give
Right.
me a project like that again.
Or they're not going to be, yeah. So that
so
sort of
on,
thing.
yeah.
So there's all these excuses for not being sincere. That's what makes it a real building brick. Like, if everybody could do it, then yeah, it would be really valuable.
Yeah.
But the fact is that as far as like building our building bricks and actually thriving in today's world, these are the things that set you apart from other people.
Yep.
So
All right. This is a good show. You guys should join us for next week. We'll be going over loyalty. That'll be our building brick. And we'll see you there.
we'll see you there.
Thank you for listening to Enter the Bunker. Make sure to follow us on Instagram where you can share your story and also look at behind the scenes of how we make our podcast. You can watch the video version of this podcast on YouTube by simply searching Enter the Bunker. Tune in next time as we launch into thriving.